Hello and welcome to Binging the Force with the Rocky Mountain Fan Force. We have a special holiday treat for you today. We're going to take a look at the story of the Faithful Wookie, a interesting artifact that was originally part of the much maligned Star Wars holiday special from 1978. Joining me, I have Michael, the producer guy and the Galacticon guy.
Greetings.
Jonathan, aka Die Wapret Die.
Happy Independence Day for Imperial Overlords.
and James, who needs no subtitle.
Hi, guys.
All right, so how many of you watched this episode, watched the Star Wars Holiday Special when it was originally on in 1978?
I am that old, yes. I did watch it.
Yeah.
I was still like this, so sorry. I was not old enough when it came on. I had to watch it via bootleg.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I remember watching it. I would have been 7 years old or so. I think I remember watching it.
Yeah, and I'm sure I would have been, I think, 5 or 6 when it came on. I'm not sure if it was the holiday of 77 or 78, but I'm sure that it didn't register at the time how awful most of it was. Later, having seen it, much later on bootlegs at conventions, it was pretty miserable. I don't know if I blame George Lucas for trying to suppress it, but the cartoon part that we're going to watch tonight was actually pretty good. I think it's a fun little extra bit of Star Wars for content-starved fans, as we all would have been in the late 70s.
Yep, and it actually has all the voices of the main actors all participated with their voice work, and more importantly, is the first appearance ever of Boba Fett.
Boba Fett, which he appeared on this. Well, technically, no. Boba Fett appeared. The costume appeared in a parade in California a couple weeks before this went on the air.
In media.
In media, this is his first appearance, and this is the first time he speaks.
I mean, a full 2 years before his actual appearance in Empire Strikes Back.
And that brings us to my little mini question for our mini episode. So this is the first appearance of Boba Fett. He first appeared as an animated character before appearing in live action later on. And we're going to see a few more of those coming up in the Ahsoka series. We're going to see quite a few characters from animation appearing in live action. So my question for you three is, what Star Wars character who has not yet appeared in live action would you like to see appear in live action? Whether it's somebody from the animateds or the comic books or the books, who do you want to see up on screen next?
Man, that's a tough question for me. The first thing that came to my head, I want to take it just in case anyone else might try it.
Good.
James might, since he knows the books. Since there's the possibility of the movie that we're going to get at some point being somewhat heir to the Empire, I'm going to say Jorah Sabath, the fallen Jedi.
Interesting choice. Had you have an actor in mind?
Ooh.
I remember the character pretty vividly.
He can now do any aged character of any kind ever. Michael Keaton.
Okay. I'll take it. Not what I would picture, but I love Michael Keaton, so I'd love to see that.
He can do anything.
Yeah.
I think what I would like to see, maybe Mara Jade. I mean, I don't know how they would make that canon or interweave that, but maybe they could somehow introduce her, because obviously she has a relationship with Luke that would kind of blow up the canon. But either that or Ray Sloan from the Thrawn stuff. Really great Imperial officer, right? A real formidable bad girl in that case. She's a woman Imperial officer.
Interesting story about Mara Jade. For the Star Wars trading card game that came out in the 90s, they did start doing cards for characters from the books, and they wanted them to match the photos from the films that they had used. So they hired a model to play Mara Jade and pose for photographs. It turned out later the model was also the girlfriend of the head of the company that produced the Star Wars trading card game. So maybe a little bit of nepotism there. But she actually had a bit of a career in the mid-90s appearing at conventions just on the back of having been the model for a trading card.
And I mean, there's still so much open space there between the time that we're covering right now, and the kind of like getting close to like 10 years post Return of the Jedi. That's still 10 or 15 years before, episode 7. I mean, there's no reason that, should they actually choose to go the direction of Luke Skywalker and Leia and Han Solo appearing in it, which I don't think they're going to do at this point, because the actors aren't going to do it again, and they've said that they don't want to do replacement actors or anything like that. So the likelihood of Luke being in it is low. But if they would, I don't see any reason why you couldn't have Mara Jade having been part of his life for several years, as long as she's just not part of his life anymore by the time he shows up in episode 8,
Or just maybe, I mean, there's a lot of other aspects to that character besides her relationship with Luke. So she could appear and we could just skip that part.
Yeah.
And it would still
she
be
has a
pretty
whole backstory. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And they go into that a little bit, but a different path than Luke.
Yeah.
For the most part, yeah.
Yep.
That's what they mean.
And maybe that character could take the place of what some of the big three would be doing in that story.
Yeah.
She's got good possibilities. I'm going to zig where you guys zag. I'm going to choose Dr. Aphra. Comic book character. She is lesbian, so she brings lots of dynamic relationships and complicated relationships that she has from the comic books. It'd be fun to see her live also, because she's just snarky. Like, her personality is hilarious. She is always willing to, throw out some good one-liners to take out Darth Vader of the Empire. And, just like she's an archaeologist, that opens up like this whole world of like possibilities for MacGuffins that she can chase, and, relationships you can have with, in any sort of like B characters throughout the Star Wars universe. So, and I've definitely seen, cosplay of hers. So that'd be fun. I think it'd be a good dynamic that they could bring to a different Star Wars kind of show.
That's a good choice.
I'd love to see her two droids on screen.
Or killer droids.
Yeah, her 2 killer droids. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with I agonized. I thought about trying to find somebody really obscure from the comic books, but I think I want to go with Hondo Ohnaka from he's been in Rebels and in Clone Wars.
Rebels,
the kind of wheeler dealer swindler character. I would only want them to do it if they got the same voice actor to do him, though, like they did with Cad Bane in Book of Boba Fett. But yeah, I love the show when he's on it. I love the character, and every time he's in an episode, it's just going to be chaos. And he's that character that they know he's going to end up betraying them, but he's just so lovable that they don't really care. Especially the relationship that they kind of build up between him and Ezra is really fun in the Rebels cartoons. And I always have a great time whenever he's in an episode.
If I remember correctly, he is in the Smuggler's Run ride at Disneyland. So
is he?
Yeah. He's the one who's like voice you hear as you're going through the line and stuff to get up to the cockpit.
No fun.
And so like there's a little bit of like story there as you're getting to the front. So he's almost there. He's in Disney.
He's close. He's closer and closer.
There's an actor portrayal.
All right. Well, how about if we get going on the story of the Faithful Wookie?
Okay. Yeah, this is going to be a little bit different than how we usually do it. It is we are going to have the actual audio, since a lot of people may not have ever seen this before, since it's a little bit more obscure. And so normally we do with no audio and with subtitles, and we just kind of talk right over it. We will still talk over it, but we're going to do it with audio, and we'll just kind of see how the levels work there, and we'll see what Facebook and YouTube feel about us actually showing it this way. So we'll find out how this will go.
Join us on this great experiment.
So I'm sober. I assume you guys are. Are we still going to be able to enjoy this, even if we're not?
We can make it through. We can make it through 6 minutes, Jonathan. We can do it.
All right. We'll get
324-1 from the bridge of the cruiser RS Revenge, Captain Kazahan reporting.
So I love
we are waiting the return of Captain Han Solo and his first mate Chewbacca, who are long overdue on a delicate mission to acquire
and it's
mystical
melded with like Star
which
Wars.
has
So
been sought
I
by our
right away
forces
got
and by the Empire.
me hooked.
So I was interested to note that in the credits and the IMDb credits for this episode, nobody knows who did that voiceover we just heard. So it's lost to time.
Now, the animation company of this was Nelvana, who ended up becoming a Canadian animation company who did a lot of really good stuff, including a very obscure movie that I'm a huge fan of, Rock and Roll.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about that movie just the other day. This is kind of fun. It's very 70s. The style reminds me a lot of heavy metal, and a lot of animated stuff.
Yeah, and actually,
I've seen it a couple times. Actually, I just watched it yesterday.
I guess I didn't remember it that much.
Yeah, I think it's a fun little artifact. Of its time.
And that was it. That was all I had.
Oh, it's an artifact, all right.
Oh, there's still more.
Was there more?
Yeah, there should be like 4 or 5 more minutes.
Oh, so that's, I guess the file I got was not complete.
KCC TV in Des Moines cut you off.
I mean, I remember when I got it, I did cut it out of the original thing, and it did cut back to live action at that point.
No, you can watch this on Disney Plus.
Oh, okay.
And it's kind of buried in their menu system, but you can watch the animated part, not the rest of the holiday special. But the only thing we missed really is Han Solo's one line of very phoned in dialogue from Harrison Ford, who clearly does not want to be there. It's even for him, it's pretty lackluster. He delivers like 1 or 2 lines and that's it. He really did not want to have anything to do with this, and they had to twist it.
Sure he didn't.
Well, for those of us who are paying attention to the threadbare plot, they have to realize Boba Fett has betrayed them, and he's a bad guy after all, and so they get rid of the talisman, curse, sleeping, whatever, and then they're rescued, and then everybody laughs at the end. Ha ha ha.
Well, and one thing that's kind of interesting is they describe Boba Fett as Darth Vader's right-hand man, so clearly they hadn't quite figured out what they were going to do with the character yet. They had designed him, so they knew what he looked like, but I don't think they had written Empire when this.
I was going to say, I would guess the script for Empire might have been in a draft form at that point, but certainly wasn't finalized.
So they hadn't really. They knew they had this cool character, but they didn't know what to do with them. I don't know. You could argue that even in Empire, they didn't really know what to do with him. He doesn't really do much.
He's kind of Darth Vader's right hand man. So
ish.
His favorite bounty hunter.
Yeah, he's the one he tasked with. Well, I guess he tasked all of them with getting Han Solo, but obviously Boba Fett's the best out of all of them because he's the one who actually accomplishes it.
Right, but I think we were given the impression that he's more of an independent contractor in Empire as opposed to an actual lackey.
Right.
Well, this is cool. I enjoyed seeing Star Wars animation. I wish they had done more Star Wars animation with our main characters, right? So after this in the 80s, they had the Droids cartoon. After Return of the Jedi, they had the Ewoks cartoon. But they never really tapped the potential that was here for our main characters and adventures. It's like all that kind of happened in Marvel Comics instead of a recurring thing on the screen.
Because they didn't have to pay Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, James Earl Jones, and Harrison Ford to do the comic.
Kids, we wanted a lot more, and they gave us kind of nothing.
I wonder.
The next movie.
I wonder why that is. I mean, there's lots of potential reasons why.
I don't know. Lucas could have made a ton more money.
But at the same time, he might also have diluted the brand too much. I think I think Disney is kind of off and on proved that if you give us too much Star Wars, it's not necessarily a good thing.
Also, producing those 3 movies back to back to back was a full-time gig for a decade.
It's true.
It was.
That's true. And he may have been less interested in farming it out.
I mean, and I think with this example of the one time where he did allow people outside of his control producing the content, with that being the results, I think that probably soured him for about 2 decades on allowing it out of his hands.
We may just now have seen why there was no other Star Wars in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
Well, happy that we at least got this, even if it was nested in something pretty wild and funky.
Yeah, the actual holiday special itself cannot be watched without copious amounts of legal or illegal substances.
Just like how they made it. Yep.
I'm sure. I'm sure. All right. Any final thoughts or words for this special holiday edition?
It was kind of a fun throwback.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was always fun to see, that kind of Star Wars animation, and I've seen some other things on YouTube over the years of people doing their own kind of fan Star Wars animation. So it's always good to kind of think of what could have been. But what we did get was also fantastic as well with the original trilogy. So yeah, I hope everybody enjoys their holiday week here and comes back and joins us again.
Yeah, we should be back next with the live action debut of Ahsoka in
very nice.
next episode, The Jedi.
Another animated character come to life.
Yep.
Very good. All right. And so until then, join us on Facebook at the Rocky Mountain Fan Force. Check us out on your favorite podcast client at Binging the Force. Buy our merch. This is particularly fun to do on bingingtheforce.myspreadshop.com. And like and subscribe on YouTube at Binging the Force.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for joining us, guys.
Enjoy.